Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm actually just going to be disassembling this assault carrier. I can't remember the actual class name. Gorton. I don't know. So this is actually going to be a repainting project, but it's also going to be a lighting project and possibly some other electronics as well. So with that in mind, I need to, I need to get inside of it. And rather than cut into it, ideally, I would just like to be able to disassemble it into its component pieces and really do as little damage as possible to the structure of the piece. So to get started, I'm actually going to remove the guns, and they don't actually need to come off to do what I'm doing, but I figure it's safer to do that because if I'm really going to be messing with this a lot, there's a possibility for breakage, and I don't want to have to glue those back on later. I don't want to have to glue the barrels on. So I'm going to just go ahead, and this is also just a good way to get started because I could see that the seam or the connection point was right here, and I can get the knife under it. And by the way, this is the only tool that I'm going to be using to do this project. Well, let's just get started with that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how to approach the rest of it. Because like I said, I could easily see that that's where this connects. And it's important to note that the X-Wing ships are all built with super glue. If this was done with any kind of proper model cement, this probably wouldn't be possible, or it would be a lot more difficult. So the important thing here is, if you know where the connection points are, by the way, this has already been disassembled. I reassembled it for the purposes of this video. In any case, I know that this is the connection point right here. This is where the turret connects with the hull. And what you're going to want to do, and what I did, is I wanted to work the knife into there. By the way, don't use a screwdriver for this. You want a broad tool. And so you work your blade in, and you can just wiggle it and twist to get it started, but then you want to get the blade out of there. Once you have a little gap, then you want to flip it over and use the back side, because you really don't, there's a lot of potential for damaging the piece if you're using the blade, especially if it's pretty sharp. Like if you have a duller blade, use that one. Anyway, so once you got that down, you can twist until you spread it. You might even hear a crack when you do it. That's the glue giving away. And then you do the other side, slide that in. This is going to look a lot easier than it is in real life. Twist, and then you just go around. And by this point, once you've gotten either side, it really just wants to come away. And see, there is the receptacle and your peg. And then you can go down to the other side. Yep, start with the blade. This one is a little bit tougher because if you look right here, you only get this part to work with because that seam dips under the main hull. So you're only going to be able to do it from here. And eventually, once it comes up, you might be able to get it in under there, and then that comes out. And now we don't have to worry about breaking those barrels. All right. Just like with any other disassembly project like this, you kind of want to spend some time looking over the ship and figuring out, where your various parts go. And if you look close, you can see that this upper hull doesn't connect really with the lower hull or wing portion. So you know that these are two separate pieces, and you can just follow that around down here, And if you look, there's also, you can see that it doesn't really connect there either. And then of course, you know, then it just becomes completely separated right here. So you want to figure out how you might disconnect that, because you also can't see what's going on underneath. You kind of have to be careful. And in this case, what I ended up doing is gently pulling it apart here, and that didn't really work. And then I worked the blade under the hull, and you can actually lever that up. And again, more work when it's actually glued down. And then I realized that I wasn't entirely sure where it connected at the front, but then you follow it around, you see that there's a gap right there, and you can see that it goes down to the bottom and then cuts across, and it looks like this whole section connects to the wing, which I found really odd. So with that in mind, I got the blade in here. Whoop. Let's put the blade back in. Actually, it doesn't go all the way to here. It actually is this panel right there. So once you got this, once you got that loose, you can pull it up, and you can see there's actually, I don't know if you can see, there it is. You can see there's actually two pegs in there holding this thing together. And so you want to kind of get that up and out. Now this is going to hold, even once you do that with the wing, this is going to hold here. And you want to be careful, because if you try to lever this out without first breaking that seam, you're going to break that whole thing. And while that's not horrible, again, trying to do this with as little damage as possible. So again, you're going to be working the blade into that seam, opening it up, and luckily it'll break a little bit on its own once the wing comes up. But then you just lever it up, and again, there's you can see there are 4 pegs in total, and because of the way when you're trying to bring it up like from here to there, it doesn't really work because they're gonna grab. Like this one will come up, and then this one a little bit more difficult, but these aren't going to want to let go at all without pulling them out this way. So now we've got that. Now the other important thing for me is, since I want to light the engines, I had to figure out whether or not these pods were a separate piece. And on close inspection, I was pretty sure that this part was molded in to the wing, but the cones were not. So again, blade into there, kind of work that out until you get a space, and then flip it over to the blunt side, and then you can just work it all around. And again, this has already been done, so it's not, you're not hearing the scary breaking sounds that you will see or hear. See, you don't see sounds. You're not hearing the scary breaking sounds. So those come free, and I was actually kind of surprised that this is a solid, well, kind of solid in there, and I might be able to work with that. So The other thing that I'm now having to consider is if I'm going to light the engines, I need to be able to get lines to go through. So my plan is to have batteries and such. Any electronic components that need a home are going to end up here. And so if I'm going to do the cockpit area, I'm going to need to get into that too. And this, so I haven't actually gotten this far yet. I see two pieces here. So this piece appears to be separate. I'm going to try just spreading this. There's the scary sounds, the scary breaking sounds. I'm going to push down from here. Oh, hey, wow, okay. That was simple. That doesn't appear like there was really any glue there. Oh, no, there was. There's a little bit of glue right there, and it looks like they tried to glue it here, but it didn't connect to anything. So that just came right out. And there is a seam there, too, that splits these two pieces apart, but that is not necessary. I don't need to do anything with that. And since those two pieces separate, it looks like this might just be two pieces as opposed to four pieces. This could separate from that, but I don't need to, so I'm just going to leave that alone. So now I've got full access to everything. Oh, there's another little engine spot. I didn't even notice that before. But I see, so that just needs to be drilled out. And it looks like it's open there. So I'm not even going to bother with that, although, yeah, I'm not going to bother with it. You know, don't take this any farther than you need to go. That's a rule. All right, and the other thing I need to consider is I'm going to need to be able to run wires through here and get it up to the hull. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to get inside of here. And because these are broad, flat pieces, I'm afraid that if I try to separate this, and it does separate, you can see right here, here, and here, well actually even across these, the engine areas, that this does split, but you don't see a seam line on the little nurnies in the middle, which means more than likely that these may be separate pieces altogether, which means in order to separate this, it's going to be a bear, because that means that in addition to these things being glued together, these are probably also glued down to the wing, which is going to make that an incredibly difficult thing to separate. And just for the sake of argument, I'm going to attempt it just briefly so you can kind of see how I get started on this, but I'm probably not going to go any farther. Ooh, I actually got under there, huh? Yeah, that's going to break. Oh. Oh, okay, all right. That was a little easier than I expected. Oh, there's a, okay, it doesn't just go straight in. As you can see, I've got a little opening I can work with here. Alright, you can see that's spreading. Oh, but it's not spreading over on this side at all. Oh, it is. Okay. I've got to be careful not to break this over here either. Oh, there we go. Hey, all right. Okay, I can see that it's binding up on this side over here, so let's see if I can work this a little bit without stabbing myself. See how I'm not working it all the way from the back side over. I'm working towards the point where it's still glued shut, because you don't want to stress it. You don't want to overly stress it. Hey, that was way easier than I thought it was going to be. Oh, that's interesting. You can see the remnants of the wash that they put on this. I'm kind of curious about what that might be. It doesn't just wash off, so anyway, but that's it. I'm now in completely. I can now, oh wow, that actually even makes it a lot easier to hog this out so that I can run the wires and the light for the engines there. And but yeah, also the wires. So that is, oh, so I was actually mistaken. So this, the detail parts are actually built into the edge of each of the pieces. Oh, that is really weird. Okay, so for example, see, this has got detail here, but not in here because that's going to fit over that. Yep. And then it has detail here, but then on this piece it stops because that's going to then go under. Oh, this is really well designed. That makes for a really nice seam. It's going to hold really well. Yeah, there's not a lot of glue in there, turns out. And it's mostly just the friction. You can see, I think you can see here that the glue are really just on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so most of these small pegs, I don't see really any glue on the large pegs. There might have been a little, but they may have just been using those for friction. And then, you know, just like a dot of glue on each of these to seal it down. You can also see how much glue was holding this in, and it looks like the majority of the glue is there, but the glue does seem to, at least in a very thin fashion, go all the way around, again on this side, concentrated in one spot, but also kind of going all the way around. Nothing on the nose. Yeah, they don't overglue these at all, so it makes it possible to take them apart. So we've got those two, main hull, rear hull, and I'm ready to start digging in further with actual tools. Need to get out the cockpit glass, which that'll be something. And I was originally thinking that I was going to have to dig a hole out of here, but I guess I don't have to do that. So there you go, just a fairly quick video, and if you have any questions about what I did here, I think it's all pretty straightforward. And of course, this is the first video in the overall project that is going to be this repaint and rebuild project. So look forward to more of these in the future. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like the video. You want to make sure you want to see the rest of this project. You probably want to subscribe so that you don't miss anything. And that's going to do it for now, and I will talk to you all later.